In this video, I'm going to compare the Pixar animated film Coco to the DreamWorks animated film Over the Hedge. I enjoy both of these movies. I think Coco is absolutely one of the strongest Pixar movies. First of all, I really appreciate how it portrays Mexican culture in a way that feels authentic, in a way that feels respectful, not in any way disrespectful. Also, I like the way Coco looks. In particular, the Land of the Dead is very visually pleasing, colorful, and vibrant, so you just enjoy spending time there. I like the growth you get for our main character, Miguel. I like how at the beginning of the movie, he is really into music, but his family is not. They really don't like music because of something that happened a long time ago, and that is rippled throughout the generations. And then Miguel goes to the Land of the Dead. He thinks at first this guy Ernesto de la Cruz is a great man. He clearly idolizes Ernesto. Ernesto is his hero, only for him to learn that, oh, no, Ernesto is bad. He's a villain. He actually is not the one who came up with any of these songs. He's a fraud. Actually, Hector is the real person who came up with these songs. Ernesto murdered his best friend just because Hector wanted to go back to his family and not play for the world. On top of that, because Ernesto suggested to Hector right before he died that maybe you died because of this chorizo, my friend, Hector ends up sadly being mocked for a long time because of it. Like, oh, look, it's the chorizo, as we see in the movie. Plus, Ernesto never told anyone that Hector wrote the songs, and Hector for a long time just has to hear his song, Remember Me, being sung over and over again without anyone knowing the context behind it, without anyone knowing that he didn't create it for the world, he created it for his daughter. And also, Miguel learns that actually Hector is Coco's father, and Coco is the mother of Miguel's grandmother. So Miguel learns that Hector is truly his family, not Ernesto. Also, we see that literally Ernesto totally cool with killing Miguel even when he actually believed Miguel was his family. By the end, it's very satisfying when Hector's family makes sure that people finally learn the truth about Ernesto, and thus they're not praising him the way they were before. And plus, by the end of the movie, people in the real world know that Hector is the one who truly deserves to be remembered. He's the one we're going to honor, not Ernesto. By the end of the movie, Hector's guitar and his letters are finally put up on display after Hector had been not given the credit he deserved for so long. And also, we see at first that because Ernesto murdered Hector, Hector's family thought that he abandoned them. They didn't know the real reason why Hector didn't come back, and so they tried to have Hector forgotten. They removed Hector's face from the ofrenda, so no one knew for a long time who Coco's father really was. He was a complete mystery to them, and thus, sadly, Hector nearly suffers a second death. By the end of the movie, we see it, Miguel is just desperately trying to get his great-grandmother Coco to remember again. She is pretty old, she's in a wheelchair, you know she's not going to live for too much longer, but fortunately, when Miguel plays the song Remember Me that Hector sung to Coco when she was a little girl, you see the light return to Mama Coco's eyes. You see life come back to her, and thus she actually tells the rest of the family about Hector, so they remember him again. And also, there's good growth for Tia Victoria as well. She's the one who set us in motion, trying to have Hector forgotten, but by the end of the movie, she's able to work things through. She's able to see that things weren't as I thought they were, and plus, just because I have certain interest or taste, it doesn't have to be what the rest of my family's interest or taste are as well. So it's heartwarming by the end of the movie that Miguel is playing and his family totally supporting him, unlike before. Plus, I appreciate that Coco's a musical, which you don't get very often from Pixar, but Over the Hedge is one I really enjoy as well. I think that it's interesting you have these animals that are living in this tiny bit of wilderness that's surrounded by all these houses, by all these humans. Actually, the animals end up venturing beyond their little bit of wilderness to explore all these suburban houses, this whole different lifestyle. Also, this raccoon RJ is trying to get food because he's going to be eaten by a bear. So he's trying to get all the animals to gather together a wagon full of food so he can give it to the bear, but he doesn't reveal to them at first this is the case. And so then they're, of course, initially unhappy when they learn the truth, but then RJ actually makes the selfless decision to come back for them. So, admittedly, you do have the liar revealed cliche in here. You go, okay, yeah, we've seen this done many times before, but other than that, I really enjoy Over the Hedge. I mean, sure, it can be a bit juvenile at times just because you have this skunk that basically farts, which, yeah, it does make sense actually. I mean, it's a skunk after all, so it's not, all that much of a big deal at all. It's just, if I had to say anything negative about this movie, that's something I could say, but I really like how Over the Hedge looks. I like the story being told here. I like the characters. I like the songs, actually, you get in this movie. I think they're pretty memorable. At the end of the day, when it comes to which movie I like more, I think I have to say Coco, because it just, I would say, has more emotion to it than Over the Hedge does. It's more memorable to me. I feel like I may have seen it more times. I don't know 100%, but I feel like that might be the case. It just, makes more of a mark to me. But I really enjoy Over the Hedge. I don't have very many issues with it. Just, doesn't feel as interesting as Coco does. The way Coco depicts Mexican culture, the land of the dead, just makes it stand out a bit more. But that'll wrap things up for this one.